What is good, everybody? It is your boy Super Saiyan Cat back with another Naruto to Boruto Shinobi Striker Jutsu breakdown / test for you guys today. We're going to be going over each and every single individual substitution / clone available to us in Naruto to Boruto Shinobi Striker as of right now. Now, we're going to be doing this a little bit differently because with the other Jutsu test / breakdown, we go into constant and real detailed gameplay of the actual jutsu and showing the differences that are not seen in the description. But when it comes to the clones and substitutions, everything you need to know about these moves is really in the description of them because they all really work the same. They are substitution / clone. You hit R2 to get out of the moves. The basic things like that are very, very easy to figure out. So again, the main things that you need to know when it comes to differences really just come from the actual descriptions that are available to us. So in between the descriptions, I will have some online gameplay going for you guys in the background as well, just so it's not just constantly looking at, descriptions of different jutsu and like that. That'd be kind of boring. So again, I will have some background gameplay going for you guys. Now, one other thing I do want to mention, guys, before we get this video started, well, actually two things. The first thing, as you guys see on the screen right now, this is my record, my stats and things of that nature. And I just want you guys to see this so you know that the information I am giving you is not coming from someone who does not know what they're talking about, someone who is not knowledgeable or anything along those lines. Again, as you see, my stats are pretty good, and these are my worst stats between both consoles. On Xbox, my stats are much better than this. I have a 90% win rate with like a 6 point something KD as well. So again, these between the two consoles, this one definitely has my worst stats, but I have more stuff unlocked over here in total. Now, the other thing I want to mention, guys, for all my PS4 users, if you guys want to join a community on PS4, for those who are looking for people to play or ever need to pick up somebody for their squad or anything like that, be sure to join the community that you guys see on your screen right now. This community is available for you guys on PS4, so you guys can, again, find some people to play with if you don't have anybody, because I know a lot of people say they just be playing with randoms and things of that nature. So join this community, and you definitely will be able to find someone that is trying to play Naruto to Boruto Shinobi Striker with you as well. But let's jump straight into this video, discussing these different substitutions and clones available to us in Shinobi Striker. And be sure to smash that like button if this video helps you guys out, or if you do enjoy it, because those likes definitely help your boy out. Alright, guys, getting this breakdown / discussion started with all these different substitution and clone jutsu available to us in Naruto to Boruto Shinobi Striker. We're just going to go from top to bottom at first, looking at descriptions and cooldown times and things like that, the actual stats of these jutsu, and then at the end I will be breaking them down and saying why I have these listed the way I do, from worst to best, when it comes to the clones and substitutions available to us in Naruto to Boruto Shinobi Strikers. Now, the first one we're taking a look at, obviously, is substitution. It says quickly substitute something else for your body in order to avoid enemy attacks. That's fairly obviously, we all know that. You just substitute a wood log from where you are actually being attacked, and you appear usually behind your opponent. Now, the cooldown time is 20 seconds of this. Obviously, it has no power or range because it literally is a wood log substitution. Now, moving on to the next one, that is Shadow Clone Jutsu. As you guys see, it says creates a corporal clone of the user, allowing them to switch out and escape from enemy attacks. The clone lasts for a while, which makes it easier to hide from enemies. This jutsu has a long cooldown time. Now, as you see, again, power range is 0-0 because this move is not putting out any damage or anything of that nature. It's just a shadow clone to kind of keep your enemies distracted. But its cooldown is 5 seconds longer than substitution, as you see, and cooldown times is very, very important when it comes to these substitutions and clone jutsu in Shinobi Striker. Now, moving on to the next one, guys, we have Ink Clone. It says creates a clone made out of ink, allowing the user to switch out and escape from enemy attacks. The clone can also use ink to confuse enemy. This jutsu has a long cooldown time. Now, this one, as you see, has a power of 1 and a range of 1, meaning it can actually do damage to your opponents, and it also actually splatters ink on them if they are still attacking that ink clone. By the time it basically explodes, it splatters ink on their screen to where they really cannot see that well. They cannot see what's going on. They can get a general idea, but again, they cannot really see what is going on for the most part. Now the next one we have is lightning style shadow clone jutsu, and this one says is shadow clone jutsu but enhanced with lightning style properties. This also allows the user to switch out with a lightning style chakra based clone and escape enemy attacks. The clone can also paralyze enemies. It has a long cooldown time. Now as you see again, the power and range is a 1-in-1 and the cooldown is 30 seconds yet again. Now the next jutsu that is available for us in Shinobi Striker as far as substitutions and clones go is wood clone. It says creates a clone made out of wood, allowing the user to switch out and escape from enemy attacks. When the jutsu is successful, the clone will capture the enemy and slow down their speed. This jutsu has a long cooldown time. Now as you see, this one has a power of 2 but a range of 1, so it's going to be doing more damage than ink clone and lightning clones, but at the same time it also has that guarantee of slowing down your opponent. So wood clone is definitely a very nice one that is available to us in Shinobi Striker. Now the next one you get available is from Rock, and this is his high speed movement. It says this taijutsu can be used instantly to escape from an enemy attack. That's all we really get from it. Power and range is a 0-0 and the cooldown time is 20 seconds. Obviously you're literally basically running away from your opponent, and you could just run at any time when you have it active. It's a little bit weird, you know, you're getting punched in the face and then somehow you're able to just run out of it. I know it sounds crazy, but at the same time it's all they could really give Rock, considering he cannot do any kind of ninjutsu or anything of that nature. Now moving on to the next one, we have sand clone. As you guys see, it says that it creates a clone made out of sand, allowing the user to switch out and escape from enemy attacks. The clone can also bind and paralyze enemies. This jutsu has a long cooldown time. Now the power and range is a 1, so as you can pretty much put together, it is very similar to the lightning style shadow clone jutsu as well. Now the next one up is clay clone jutsu, and it says creates a clone made out of clay, allowing the user to switch out and escape from enemy attacks. The clone will explode, dealing damage to targets in range. This jutsu has a long cooldown time. Now it also has a power of 2 but a range of 1 as well. The range is a little bit greater though than most of the other clones, because it does create an explosion instead of just an actual clone like made out of sand or something like that, where the only one getting hit by that is the one right next to it that's attacking the clone, as opposed to the clay clone. If you are kind of grouped up next to somebody, it can hit more than one person. Now the next one up is water clone jutsu, and it says a jutsu that creates a water clone, allowing the user to switch out and escape from enemy attacks. It also lowers the target's defense. That is absolutely amazing right there. The fact that you can lower your target's defense with a clone is very crucial, and I really like this one of my favorites out of all of these without question. Now when you look at the power and range, it is a 1 and 30-second cooldown. Now I know some of the others have power of 2, but at the same time you got to understand this is lowering your opponent's defense, and usually when you do use a clone, you get that upper hand on your opponent right afterwards. So when they get hit by it, they're going to get lower defense, and then you're going to come in and put into a combo right away, which is just going to add to the damage because now your attacks will be doing that much more. Now the next jutsu we have up is bird clone, and it says bird clone creates a bird. It says this jutsu creates a bird clone, allowing the user to switch out and escape from enemy attacks. It also has a small chance of lowering the target's attack and defense. Now water clone jutsu basically guarantees that lowering of the defense. Now this one on the other hand has a very low chance of lowering attack and defense. Now when it actually works, it is great, but when it does not, it is actually one of the worst clones, not paper clone, I just said that because that was the next one up, but it's one of the worst clones / substitutions available to you in Shinobi Striker. Now the next one up is paper clone jutsu, and it says creates a clone made out of paper, allowing the user to switch out and escape from enemy attacks. The clone can also seal enemies ninjutsu. This jutsu has a long cooldown time. Now we got through all the descriptions, guys, so now we're just gonna have some gameplay for you guys going on in the background of online play, and we're gonna go through these from worst to best, ranking these, and I'm gonna explain why I have them ranked where they are on this list. Now the worst one out of all of these without question to me is the bird clone jutsu, guys, because it only has a power of 1 and a range of 2, and it does not even guarantee the status ailment that comes along with it. All the other ones that have a power of 1 and range of 1 guarantee that status ailment or freeze the paralysis effect. It is all guaranteed with those if the clone actually works successfully, as opposed to that bird clone. It is not guaranteed at all, and it's actually a small chance of the attack and defense actually being lowered. Again, when it does happen, it is lovely, but at the same time, for the most part, it barely ever happens. Now, one other thing I want to mention about clone jutsu in general, they have very long cooldown time. Their cooldown is 30 seconds long, guys. That is another bad thing about any clone jutsu in general. So when the paper or the bird clone, again, does not really have that guaranteed status ailment effect, it basically takes away the whole point of it being 30 seconds long. Now, the next one on the list, really at number 10 and number 9, both of these have the same effect, both have the same power and range and things like that. We have Lightning Clone and Sand Clone. These paralyze your opponents, which is kind of nice. Do not get me wrong, that is definitely a cool feature, but at the same time, when it comes to these clones and substitutions or anything like that, you automatically really have the upper hand on your opponent. So is that paralysis really necessary? Or can you just get behind your opponent immediately when you use your clone and see the wide open attack that you have available to yourself and take advantage of it, whether they are paralyzed or not? You should still be able to get the upper hand once you use your substitution. So that is why I have them at the bottom, because they only put that damage output of 1 on each of them. And again, the whole paralyzing thing is cool, but at the same time, it's not a necessary feature from these clones because you already have the upper hand when you get behind your opponent. Now, moving on to the next one at number 8, guys, we have Paper Clone Jutsu. Paper Clone Jutsu is cool in the fact that it does 2 damage. It has a 2 damage stat like some of the others do, and it can seal ninjutsu, but at the same time, it doesn't always guarantee that seal. So again, when it comes to these clones that don't give that guarantee, when you don't get that status ailment, they really aren't as good as they possibly could be, or as good as others, just due to the fact that the status ailment is usually guaranteed when it comes to those. So that is why I have that one coming in at number 8. Now, coming in at number 7, guys, is Ink Clone. This one was tough to put at number 7. I do kind of like this one, but at the same time, being the fact that it only has a 1 damage and 1 range output, and it kind of blinds you, really being blinded in this game is not that big of a deal, because all you got to do is lock on and kind of press one of your jutsu or press the attack, and you will automatically go towards the opponent you are locked onto. So it does make it a little bit more difficult to fight, do not get me wrong, but at the same time, it is not the most devastating status ailment that can come from one of these, in my opinion. So that's why I got it at number 7. But coming in at number 6, guys, is Clay Clone Jutsu. And I have this one at number 6, even though it doesn't give a status ailment. I have it at number 6 because it has a larger AoE than most of the other clones, or really does have a larger AoE than all of the other clones available to us in the game right now. And it can do 2 damage, so it can do a good little amount of damage to multiple opponents if you are grouped up, which usually a lot of people are, especially when it comes to base flag or anything where you have to capture an actual zone. A lot of people are usually grouped up, and this one can hit multiple opponents, unlike the other ones really can, unless multiple opponents are actually attacking the person who uses a clone. Then they can get hit by then it can hit multiple people, but a Clay clone can hit someone who is not even fighting them. It can just have that little extra AoE to where it does hit more people. So that is why I have it coming in at number 6. But coming in at number 5, guys, we have the Wood Clone Jutsu. Now, the Wood Clone is honestly fairly good. It has a 2 damage output out of 5, like some of the others do, but at the same time, it gives you that guarantee to lower their speed. So when you lower their speed, it is definitely very helpful, because a lot of people love to run in this game, and it makes it so much easier to track them down when they are trying to run, or when they're just trying to move in general. It gives you that speed advantage, which usually gives you the priority advantage as well, no matter what. So Wood Clone is definitely one of the better ones, and that is why I have it coming in at number 5. Now, coming in at number 4, guys, we have Water Clone. Water Clone is another good one for sure. As you guys saw, it lowers the defense of your opponent when it does hit. That is absolutely amazing, considering the fact that, again, usually when you use a clone, regardless or substitution, you have the upper hand immediately on your opponent. So when they get hit by that, and then you come in and hit them with the combo immediately, they're going to be taking that much more damage than they would have been, and it really equals out to more damage than you can really get from like a clone that does 2 damage output out of 5. Even though the Water Clone does like 1 out of 5, it really equates to more once you put your opponent into a combo and take advantage of that defense status ailment that they get when hit by the Water Clone. Now, a lot of people are probably like, Cap, what the hell? The last 3, there's still top 3 to go, and we have not seen Substitution, High Speed, or even really Shadow Clone Jutsu. Yeah, that's because if you really think about it, guys, these are the 3 best substitutions and Shadow Clone, or really clones, available to us in Shinobi Striker for the reasons I'm about to mention. Coming in at number 3, we have Shadow Clone Jutsu. Now, A lot of people, guys, when you are playing good players in this game, they do not fall for the whole clone thing anymore. Once they see you substitute and once they see your name disappear above the clone, they know to run away and just dash back and usually do not get affected by the clone. I know I barely get affected by clones now just because I know how to escape them, and a lot of other people who are actually good at the game know how to do so as well. So I'd rather have Jutsu that's going to come back faster as far as my substitutions and things like that. That's going to come back faster knowing that I'm not going to get the damage output or the status ailment done to these better players because they know how to get away from the Jutsu. So that 5 extra second cooldown definitely comes in handy with Shadow Clone. And again, when you use these Jutsu, you really have the upper hand regardless on your opponent. But that whole 5 seconds does make a big difference when you're playing against comp, seeing the how they will not really be hit by those clones and will not be taking damage or any kind of status ailment. So that is why I have the Shadow Clone coming in at number 3. And again, you have to think, when you're playing someone who is really getting hit by those clones a lot, they're most likely scrubs, and scrubs are fairly easy to beat. So again, those really do not come in handy unless you are playing scrubs, and without them either way, the scrubs are still very, very easy to beat. So that is why I have the Shadow Clone Jutsu coming in at number 3. Now at a tie with number 1 and number 2, we have high speed movement and substitution, just for the simple fact that both of these Jutsu have that 20-second cooldown, guys. Now substitution and high speed kind of work very similar. The only difference is one, you literally run away and kind of get behind your opponent to get that advantage, and the other one, you kind of substitute behind them, leaving that wood log in front of them, and you still have the advantage. When I use substitution jutsu, I still get the upper hand on my opponent because I'm literally usually appearing right behind them, and it's not like there's any back hit or anything like that, like there is in Xenoverse, so they can't take advantage of that. And again, you usually have the advantage and the priority even when you are using just a substitution, a regular substitution, or high speed movement. And that 20-second cooldown time as opposed to 25 or 30 definitely comes in handy again when you are playing people who are actually good. People who are real comp when it comes to Shinobi Striker will not be affected by those clones, like I said earlier. So there's really no point in running those just for that extra 10-second cooldown time when you're playing people who are actually good at this game, because they will not be taking damage or status ailment effects from any of the clones. So that is why I have these jutsu ranked the way I do, guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video and got some information that is fairly useful to you from it as well, because again, I barely ever saw high speed movement or substitution or even shadow clones being run anymore, because people were looking for that damage, that little bit of damage they can get from the other clones, or the little bit of status ailments they can get from these other clones as well. But again, when you're playing comp and people who are actually good and competent at the game, they will not be getting hit by these clones, so they will not be taking damage or taking any status ailments from them, which just leads to an extra 10-second cooldown time that you really do not need and can really affect you in a fight against a good player. So again, man, I really hope this video helped you guys out. Let me know down below if you guys enjoyed it and found some useful information from it as well, and if you will be changing up your clone / substitution jutsu in Shinobi Striker due to this video down below. But as always, man, thank you guys so much for watching. Really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Until next time, as always, hope you have a good day. Peace, y'all.